Every battle has a time and a place. Battles decide the fate of nations and the lives of people. They are always a part of a large history that includes years and even generations of time. Battles are horrific events that decimate populations and affect the course of nations for decades and even centuries. Ancient battles were up close and personal. Because of high physical intensity and the likelihood of death, face-to-face fighting only lasts for a few hours. Within a short time, in a small space, the course of history can be greatly affected. For example, at Waterloo in 1815, one day of battle determined the destiny of Europe for at least 100 years. Who can even begin to measure the impact of the Battle of Gettysburg on the history of the United States? Ancient battles are always upfront and personal. Each blow in hand-to-hand combat has the potential to kill. The belligerents look each other in the eyes. They feel the pain of each arrow and of each blow. They see the pain of every strike against the enemy. History, of course, is full of hundreds of battles. We are interested in the battle in the Book of Mormon that has the most details for terrain and combatants. It is from these details that we will be able to identify the physical reality of the Book of Mormon. The Battle of Zarahemla at harvest time in 87 BC, as found in the second chapter of the Book of Alma, has the most detail of any battle found for the many battles that fill 1,000 years of history in the Book of Mormon. The Battle of Zarahemla took place over one day, a night, and another day, or 36 hours. The battle was limited in a space of 8 miles by 8 miles. This video compares the size of the battlefields for 4 other battles in history. In each case, armies are arrayed in formations, and they made movements that occupied spaces of 8 miles by 8 miles. These 4 other famous battles from history are enumerated for the purpose to compare them to the area of the battlefield for Zarahemla in 87 BC. The Battle of Cannae. On August 2nd, 216 BC, the Carthaginian army, led by Hannibal, surrounded and practically destroyed a larger Roman army. The battle engaged the forces of 86,400 Romans and 50,000 Carthaginians. Hannibal's army, with its elephants, destroyed the Romans on a field that was 8 miles by 8 miles near the east coast of Lower Italy. The Battle of Zarahemla. At harvest time in 87 BC, the Nephite army, led by the chief judge Alma, won the first day of battle against the Amlicites on the east side of the river Sidon. On the morning of the second day, Alma's army walked across the river Sidon and won the next battle in the river and on the west bank against the combined armies of the Amlicites and the Lamanites. The 3 armies together had an estimated 90,000 warriors. The field of battle for those 2 days of fighting was 8 miles by 8 miles. The Battle of Trenton. The victory at the Battle of Trenton on December 26, 1776, turned around the face of the American War of Independence. Looking back on his life, General Washington would say that if God were ever with him, he was with him when he crossed the Delaware on that wintry Christmas night in 1776. After months of defeat and retreat, Washington's victory changed the morale of both the army and the country. With only 2,400 men, his forces were small, but the outcome was very significant for the future of the United States. The Battle of Trenton took place in an area of 8 miles by 8 miles. The Battle of Waterloo on Sunday, June 18, 1815, on farm fields in Belgium. Wellington's army with 118,000 men destroyed Napoleon's army of 73,000. On that day, there were 65,000 casualties. Napoleon lost, and Europe changed forever. The field of battle was about 8 miles by 8 miles. The Battle of Gettysburg. President Lincoln famously declared, "Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation, or any nation so conceived and so dedicated, can long endure. We are met on a great battlefield of that war. We have come to dedicate a portion of that field as a final resting place for those who here gave their lives that that nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. But in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow this ground. The brave men, living and dead, who struggled here, have consecrated it far above our poor power to add or to detract. The Battle of Gettysburg gave the United States a new birth of freedom. It was fought on an area of 8 miles by 8 miles. And so it is for the Book of Mormon. Let's now confirm the location for the Battle of Zarahemla. By so doing, we will at the same time confirm the physical truth of the Book of Mormon. The Battle of Zarahemla was fought on an area of 8 miles by 8 miles. We can scan and define every square inch of this territory and place that information on a digital map. We will see how the terrain perfectly fits the storyline that we have received by the gift and power of God in chapter 2 of the Book of Alma. This research has just begun. Go to www.zarahemla.site to help us find the lost city of Zarahemla.